It's a beautiful day here in Vero Beach, Florida, and it'll be a great day for flying, so let's head over to HPN today. I'm getting good vibes. Just look at that sky. I think today is going to be a very scenic flight, very well worth the price of a window seat. I'm approaching the Vero Beach Airport now. Look at all those planes. It's winter season in Florida, and people are bringing their own planes to Florida as well as flying commercial. But today, I'm leaving the sun for the cold of New York. This airport has several FBOs, or fixed-based operators, where the private flights go. They provide services like fuel and other amenities. There are also many flight schools here at VRB. Just look at the concentration of all those training planes. Here's the air traffic control tower. I'll be providing air traffic control for today's flight, but it won't just be on the frequency that we're on. Even though Breeze, today's airline, doesn't fly to JFK, I'm going to focus on JFK flights and JFK ATC on this flight to Westchester. More on that later. For now, it's time to get out of the vehicle and go into the terminal area here at this airport, which is starting to become one of the top airports that I fly into and out of these days. I'm going to head over to an aircraft viewing area where anyone can go to watch the planes at this charming airport here on Florida's Treasure Coast. Well, I am super excited to be back at the Vero Beach Regional Airport for my Breeze A220 flight up to Westchester County. It is an absolutely beautiful day for flying. I can't wait to get in the air. Now, while most passengers are focusing on the comfort and the amenities aboard, I'm focusing on our departure path. Right now, the wind is coming from this direction, so I'm expecting to take off in this direction into the wind. And then we'll fly a water route up to the New York City area. Well, you can probably hear I've got a bit of a breeze in the background, and I'm flying Breeze today, no pun intended. In any case, my seat today is going to be in the nicer section. I actually had a seat on a previous flight that I had to reschedule, and the nicer fare was actually lower than the nice fare, so I actually got some money back. Quite interesting. Now, I've actually been ticketed on this flight for about 3 different times, but due to some personal reasons, I had to reschedule until today. Well, I'm happy it is today because it's a gorgeous day for flying today. But each day I was here in Vero Beach, I did take a look to watch the exact flight that I'll be taking off from Vero Beach to White Plains. Here's some footage of that. And here we are back to the day of my flight. I can't stop plane watching. You gotta love this airport. This area behind me right here is the baggage claim area, completely outdoors. Where else can you be in a situation like this? I've never seen it before. If you know what those are for, let me know in the comment section below. I mean, talk about getting close to the action. This is in the viewing area. Now, if you watch my channel a lot, you know that I'm a big fan of flying into the New York City area, so I'm super excited about that, of course. And my seat is on the left-hand side of the airplane for the Buono arrival. I'm hoping I'm going to get some good views of Long Island and Long Island Sound tonight. More on that later, because my A220 is about to land on the same runway we'll be taking off on. This airport encourages you to plane spot, and it's so great to see people watching planes land with their families on board. I don't like it when passengers that are arriving just walk into a waiting car. In any case, I want more, so I'm going to go to the short-term parking lot now to stand in front of the spot that this flight will pull into. Here she is. Instead of vacating the runway to the right onto taxiway Charlie, the plane vacated the runway to the left on taxiway Echo today because Charlie was closed. This means a crossing of runway 12 right on the way back when the runway is clear. So it's a slightly longer taxi than normal, but this is an efficient airport, so it didn't make a big difference. Here comes my plane. It's the same exact plane I took on my flight to Vero Beach, November 218 Bravo Zulu. It has a white nose cone. Let's listen in to the sound of the engines as I stand as close as possible to this beautiful bird. Well, my plane has just arrived from Islip and I can't wait to take it to Westchester. It's time to drop off my bag and head through TSA. This time around, I did not eat at the airport restaurant, CJ Cannon's, and the only food options post-TSA are vending machines. I didn't want to purchase anything on board, so I took advantage of the machines here. There are more choices here than on the onboard menu. This airport has a really small holding area, so I took a seat near the vending machines where it's nice and quiet. I spent most of my time looking out the window waiting for this moment, boarding! Let's head on over to HPM. I'm getting used to this outdoor boarding process. I now expect it and I miss it at other airports. I kind of expect this wherever I go. I'm excited to be boarding November 218 Bravo Zulu again. This time around, I get to see the white nose cone up close. I haven't seen this on any other Breeze airplanes. What a great day for outdoor boarding. Today, my seat is in the nicer section that offers extra legroom, but what matters to me is the fact that I'm on the left side of the plane. Okay, I made it aboard the Breeze A220 and I've got two windows here in the nicer section. I'll be honest, the window's not exactly clean. This is a disappointment. I paid for a window, not a seat, and I expect no spots, stains, or dirt on the window. I'm happy I have two windows, but the window on the left is easier to look out from. Well, this area here is a little bit better than that area there, so I'm committed to providing the best videos I can for my audience, so I'll be using that portion despite the large window on the Airbus A220.
915 with service to White Plains. Quickly find your seat and place large items and bins overhead.
I can't wait to be airborne again. I checked the weather in New York City and the sky is going to be clear with no high altitude clouds. That means I should get a great view of arrivals to JFK. Okay, I need to focus on what's happening now. We'll be in the air real soon in a climb to the east over the Atlantic. Let's listen in to the pilot make his welcome announcement.
You guys ready to get stuffed tomorrow on turkey and get those couch blues? Take a big nap tomorrow? Yeah. Well, we're gonna be stuck in a hotel room somewhere, so but we're gonna find somewhere in New York that does turkey stuffing, and if that's a northern thing, I hope, right?
It is.
It's not just a southern thing. Okay, good. I see a lot of heads shaking. Yes, it makes me feel confident. Thank you. Good. Anyways, well, welcome aboard. This is flight 915 to White Plains. 2 hours, 15 minutes at 37,000 feet. Going to be a few bumps on the takeoff, just the heat of the day, trust your radiation. Once we get up to cruise altitude, ATC and the routing, it looks like it's supposed to be a beautiful flight. I would expect a few bumps here and there, but majority of the flight is going to be a beautiful day to fly. Into White Plains, it's going to be bumpy. The winds are out of the west, 9 knots, gusting to 15, so not too bad. Just expect a few bumps. Just keep your seatbelts nice and tight. But temperature is also going to be, for me, I feel like it's a chilly 48 degrees. So, anyways, I'm Captain Eric. My co-captain's Ryan. Hey, Ryan, everybody's looking for you. He's going to be taking us up there. He'll be landing as well, so you have to give him a thumbs up or thumbs down on his landing once we get there. Up front, I've got Gabe. Gabe, say hi to everybody for me.
Hello, everybody.
Everybody, this is Gabe. In the back, we've got Bridget and Mateo. Hey, hi to everybody. Here they are. They're going to take real good care of you guys all the way up. We'll treat you like family. So for now, just kick back, relax. Welcome aboard.
Before leaving the gate, the flight attendant asked two passengers to move up for weight and balance purposes.
Hi everybody, I'm gonna have two volunteers to move from zone, two passengers to move from zone number 3 to zone number 1. It's gonna be completely free, please. We have two passengers, please. Raise your hand. Okay, I see 1, 2. Only two passengers, please. Alright.
I'm waiting for the movable stairs to be taken away. This will be a sure sign that we're ready to go. Here they go. We can now call ground for pushback.
Vero Beach ground, Mach 915 is ready to push with Echo.
Mach 915, pushback approved.
Pushback approved, Mach 915, thanks.
Pushback is approved. Let's move backwards under tug.
Good afternoon, welcome aboard Breeze Airways. Our flight crew today is Captain Air, First Officer Ryan, my name is Gabe, and I am assisted by Bridget and Matthew in the main cabin today. We're excited to have you on board and look forward to serving you. Our flight time to White Plains is scheduled for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Please direct your attention to the flight attendants in the cabin as we provide important safety information about your flight. There is a passenger safety information card located at each seat. Please follow along as we point out some of the safety features of these 220 aircraft. In preparation for takeoff, please ensure that your seatbelts are fastened, table holders, tray tables, and six bags are in the upright and stowed position. Carry-on items are properly stowed, and window shades are open, and small electronics are placed in airplane mode and secure. Please stow your foot rate and lower your hand raise to fasten your seatbelt. Place a metal tip into the buckle and pull to tighten the strap so it is slow and tight across your lap. To open, release the top flap of the buckle. Seatbelt must be fastened anytime the seatbelt sign is illuminated. All our flights are non-smoking. These include e-cigarettes and vaping. Federal law prohibits tampering with, disabling, and destroying laboratory smoke detectors and drinking alcohol brought on board the aircraft. Federal regulations require guest compliance with all light information signs, posted placards, and crew member instructions. There are seat access on this aircraft. 2 exit doors at the front of the aircraft, 2 window exits over the wings, and 2 exit doors in the back of the aircraft. All exits are equipped with a slab which can be detached and used as flotation aid.
We've been positioned by the tug to face the direction of our taxi to runway 12 right. If we were to take off in the opposite direction, we'd face the other way. With the tug removed and the engine started, we're ready to call Vero Beach Ground Control for taxi clearance.
Vero Beach Ground, Moxie 915 with Foxtrot ready to taxi.
Moxie 915, Vero Beach Ground, runway 12 right, taxi Charlie, cross runway 4, Charlie.
12 right via Charlie, cross runway 4, Moxie 915.
Okay, it's a straightforward taxi to the runway today via taxiway Charlie, and along the way we can cross the crosswind runway 422. Once we get to the end of taxiway Charlie, we'll turn right, enter the runway, and take off. Well, something different is going to happen, but we'll talk about that in a moment. We'll be listening to the tower frequency in a moment. I'm highly focused on when the tower will issue us takeoff clearance. There are many planes that will be using runway 12 right for landing and touch and goes, so the tower will have to carefully place us on the runway only when there's a sufficient gap allowing the controller to do so. Let's move forward to the point where we're waiting our turn to enter the runway for takeoff. We're now on the tower frequency, and the tower is going to talk to a plane on final approach, asking if they have the Airbus in sight. That's us. We're about to take off in front of this plane, which will do a touch and go.
Flight 663, do you have the Airbus in sight holding short of runway 13 right?
That's a Flight 663.
Flight 663, they're about to start their roll. Maintain visual separation, runway 13 right, clear touch and go, still call your base.
Maintain visual, clear touch and go, Flight 663.
Flight 663, caution wake turbulence for departing Airbus.
Roger, wake turbulence, Flight 663.
Now the tower will assign us an altitude to climb to and takeoff clearance as well, but the pilot of our flight is not ready, so takeoff clearance gets canceled.
Moxie 915, climb maintain at 5,000. Fly heading 120, runway 12 right, clear for takeoff.
5,000 on the initial altitude, and one moment, we're going to hold short here for a second and work a problem.
Moxie 915, cancel takeoff clearance for runway 12 right.
Alright, cancel takeoff clearance runway 12 right. Thank you, Moxie 915.
Now the plane on final can turn base leg and land since we won't take off.
Flight 663, turn base.
And now the controller will tell the same flight that we are not taking off and he can use the runway for a touch and go.
Flight 663, the Airbus is not taking the runway. Runway 12 right, clear, touch and go.
12 right, clear, touch and go, Skyflight 663.
The pilot mentions to the tower that there will be a 7-minute delay for us and is then informed that we have to move by going onto the runway and vacating it at taxiway Charlie 5.
About a 7-minute delay for us. Is this a good spot or you just...
Moxie 915, say again.
I call dispatch. Do you need us to move Moxie 915?
Yeah, Moxie 915, I'm going to taxi you down to Charlie 5 for now. Hold position, and I'll advise you when to proceed out onto the runway.
All right, hold position. We'll plan on that. Thanks, Moxie 915.
We're then given a new altitude to climb to once we eventually do take off.
Yeah, Moxie 915 on initial climb, maintain 2,000. When you're ready to go again, I can try and re-coordinate higher.
Okay, we got 2,000 set, and we'll ask for that when we're ready to go again. Thank you, Moxie 915.
Now that the arrival is about to land, we're told to enter the runway and vacate it via the first right.
Moxie 915, proceed on the runway 12 right, taxi down to Charlie 5 and contact ground.
Runway 12 right, taxi down to Charlie 5 and contact ground, Moxie 915.
As a passenger, I was not listening to air traffic control in real time, and I thought we were going on the runway for takeoff once the tower found a gap in arrivals. After all, we were entering the runway right behind a plane I just saw. I'm probably not the only one who thought we were all set to take off, but I noticed that once we made the right turn onto the runway, we kept moving slowly, and that would not be the standard procedure for taking off. We would be moving faster and faster, and the engines would get loud. That did not happen, so I knew something wasn't right. Well, as instructed by the tower, we're vacating the runway on taxiway Charlie 5. Let's check back in with ground control.
Okay, ground Moxie 915, clear in 12 right, Charlie 5. I'd like to make the right turn and kind of turn back towards the runway.
Moxie 915, runway 12 right, taxi via Charlie.
All right, 12 right via Charlie, Moxie 915.
So we'll turn back to the right onto the taxiway we were just on for, I guess, another attempt. Again, as a passenger, I really don't know what's going on, and I'm wondering if any of the passengers are even noticing this. I'm actually listening around to hear if passengers who are traveling together are mentioning this to each other. Maybe something like, why are we turning around, or weren't we supposed to take off? But I heard nothing. At this point, I'm just thinking, when will the pilot come on the PA system to explain what's going on? This is not the first time this has happened to me. I have a video on this channel of a flight that I took from LaGuardia Airport to Nashville, Tennessee. As the airplane went into position on runway 13, we came off the runway because the captain found an anomaly in the cockpit and then took off again. Check out that video. I'm thinking that we're in a similar situation. These things do happen, and it's probably a precautionary measure that the pilot is taking. He definitely needs some more time, so he checks in with the ground controller on where he should spend the next couple of minutes so he doesn't block the taxiway that leads to the runway. Let's listen in.
And tower, or ground, excuse me, Moxie 915, is right about here good, or would you rather us be in the penalty box on the left?
Yeah, up a little bit further, but how long do you need is what we really need to know.
All right, we'll pull up a little bit more. It's going to be about 5 to 10 minutes for Moxie 915.
Moxie 915, Roger. If you're able to, just pull into the run-up area. There's no one there, and I'm sure they can share it with you if they need it.
Okay, we'll try to pull up into the run-up area, Moxie 915.
With empty space off to our left and a need to wait about 5 to 10 more minutes, we go to the run-up area, also referred to as a penalty box by our pilot. This will allow other planes to use taxiway Charlie to get to runway 12 right. There's no parallel taxiway on the other side of the runway to enter the runway here on this side of the airport. The run-up area is often used by small planes to do engine run-ups, but there are no airplanes using it, so we have it all to ourselves. Now that we're in a position to wait and the pilot has had some time since the issue began, the pilot now has an opportunity to address passengers, some of whom are confused about what the situation is.
Hey ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the runaround. We had a light come on shortly before taking the runway, and we're just running through a few checklists and getting new dispatch. Rather be on the ground dealing with it. Wishing we were in the air, then in the air wishing we were on the ground. So we'll get you guys moving here in just a moment. Thanks.
So we now know that some light came on, he ran through checklists, and is working with dispatch. It definitely was a smart move to deal with this while still on the ground. Very shortly after that, the issue, the exact specifics of which I don't know, was resolved, and we called ground for taxi clearance for a second time.
Vero Beach ground, Moxie 915, we are ready to taxi.
Moxie 915, Roger, runway 12 right, taxi via Charlie, and I'll try to get you higher.
12 right via Charlie, thanks so much.
There were no delays getting out this time, and the controller tried to get us a higher initial altitude to climb to other than 2,000 feet. From the run-up area to the runway, it's a really short taxi time. Now, I was unable to obtain ATC for the takeoff clearance and the climb, so I am not sure what altitude we were assigned to. Once we get to the New York City area, we'll resume not just ATC for this flight, but we'll explore Kennedy Airport air traffic control too. In a moment, you'll be watching the full takeoff and climb from in front of the engines of this A220-300. Undoubtedly, the tower issued us takeoff clearance, and we began our roll on runway 12 right. Let's listen into the sound of the engines from in front of them. Beautiful takeoff. I'm expecting a left-hand turn toward our initial departure fix today, which is to the northeast. This means that we'll be flying a water route for the first part of this flight. Although it's less scenic, it's straighter than a land route. The scenery for today's climb is the area just east of the airport. We'll fly past Royal Palm Point, which is just south of the Merrill P. Barber Bridge, which crosses the Indian River, which hosts this part of the Intracoastal Waterway System. Then it's over the Barrier Island, then the Atlantic Ocean. It's time for a message from the sponsor of today's video, Extra. Extra wallets come in a variety of shapes and sizes and colors. This one actually glows in the dark. With durable wallets and card holders, the value derived from Extra is unmatched. I always carry an Extra wallet with me, and I know I'll never lose it because I can add an air tag to it. Check out their site. They have lots of awesome products. And as a viewer of this channel, if you enter code MASELA at checkout, you'll save. Visit the link in the description below. Oh, and from December 26th to January 24th, Extra is having a New Year's sale with up to 40% off. Wouldn't an Extra wallet or accessory make a great gift? Don't forget to use code MASELA on top of the holiday savings. Well, there's always something interesting that happens on a flight. I was not expecting to go onto the runway and then go right off the runway. As you can see from the window behind me, I am Not happy with that. This is the worst thing that can happen on a flight. I spent a lot of time picking a well-aligned window. I've got a cleaner window over there, but the person in front of me put their seat back. That's something that I just would never do. Now I have to lean to look out the clean window. If it's not an overnight flight, I'll never recline my seat. It's just not nice for the person behind you. I'm addicted to this view. How can I not look at this Delta A321 flying from JFK to Fort Lauderdale? The sun's about to set, and the pilot is about to make an announcement as I spot a Discover A330 flying from Frankfurt to Orlando.
Alrighty, folks, for the flight deck, looks like ATC is going to keep us here at 35,000 here for a little bit. We'll climb up later on once we get a little bit closer, but for now, we'll enter that seatbelt sign on for you in case you want to get up, stretch your legs, and use the restroom. If not, just kick back, relax, keep that seatbelt tight, and enjoy your ride.
Down there is a private CRJ200 from Philadelphia to Opa-locka in Miami. The day is turning to night, and those on this side of the plane get to see sunset. It's nice, but I'm focused on other things like situational awareness and knowing that we're going to start to approach the land for the land portion of our flight. Down there is Myrtle Beach. And through the clouds, we can see Cape Fear here. Wilmington, North Carolina was pretty easy to identify with its bright lights. 115,451 people call this city home, and above it, 172 seats carry passengers on this American 737 from LaGuardia to Miami. The next big city we flew by was Norfolk, Virginia, which was covered in clouds, but its 238,005 inhabitants used their lights to illuminate the clouds from below, creating this unique view from above. Okay, we're ready to fly the Buono arrival to HPN, which will put us out over the Atlantic Ocean while near the Jersey Shore. It's time for the pilot's descent announcement.
Alrighty, folks, from the flight deck, we started our initial descent into the White Plains area. Looks like on the ground, winds are going to be calm now. 10 statute miles, clear skies. Temperature is going to be a nice chilly 41 degrees. I'd like to thank you folks for traveling Breeze Airways. If you are home, welcome home for traveling through safe travels. We do hope to see you folks again on another Breeze flight. As of now, we've only got 30 minutes left, about 187 miles from our touchdowns. Just continue to kick back, relax, enjoy the rest of your ride. And for the Vero base crew, I'd like to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Flight attendants, good Captain Vero.
Within the next 30 minutes, we're going to explore Kennedy Airport flights as our route takes us east of JFK to avoid it. On the New York Center frequency, I was briefly able to hear our pilot respond to lower altitude clearance and to Buono.
20 Moxie 915. CO2 and Bono 17,000 Moxie 915.
Buono is a point that keeps us east of JFK. We're headed toward Long Island to the northeast. That's a great view of the northern part of the Jersey Shore. Okay, it's time for some JFK Airport action with air traffic control. In this view, JFK Airport is located on the right side of the screen. Manhattan is to the left. Kennedy is using runway 22 left for landing and runway 22 right for departures this evening. The airspace that you see in dark over the water is used for flights to JFK from the west to descend over before they turn back over Long Island toward JFK. Listen to this.
American 1533, descend and maintain 4,000.
So maintain 4,000, American 1533.
That's a transmission from New York Approach Control for JFK. American 1533 from Las Vegas is descending to 4,000 feet over the water. We can see it down there as it prepares to join a downwind leg to runway 22 left. 4,000 feet brings it below departures off of runway 22 right. The next thing that needs to happen for American 1533 is a left turn to the northeast for a left downwind leg flying in the opposite direction for landing on runway 22 left. Here's Approach Control issuing that turn now.
American 1533, turn left heading 030.
Left turn 030, American 1533.
Now, despite runway 22 left being the landing runway, for some reason British Airways Flight 113 using the call sign Speedbird 33 Kilo will be using runway through and right for landing. Listen to this transmission set on JFK's final approach frequency.
Approach Speedbird 1033 Kilo, heavy descending 3,000. We're going to route slightly to the left of the direct track to Zulab for a 2,000 feet platform altitude.
Speedbird 33 Kilo, heavy near approach. Fly heading 28, there now vector for descent.
Speedbird 33 Kilo, heavy disregard. Proceed as requested. Descend maintain 3,000.
So maintain 3,000 feet 33 Kilo and confirm heading.
Speedbird 33 Kilo, heavy direct to Moldy to join the localizer for 31 right.
Moldy, localizer 31 right, Wolf Coast, Speedbird 33 Kilo.
It looks like a second controller had to jump in to tell Speedbird to proceed to Maldi, which is on a 9-mile final to runway through and right. Maldi is over the ocean, so let's keep an eye out for it down there. We can clearly see JFK and we're practically looking down runway through and right. There it is. It's a Boeing 787. It'll be on the ground soon, and it presents a conflict to flights on the 22s. In any case, it's such a clear night, and Manhattan is in the distance. We can see the city lights, and on the other side of Manhattan is New Jersey, the state that we were descending over not too long ago. Between JFK and New Jersey are flights going to and from LaGuardia, an airport featured very often on this channel, but they are too far away to make them out with all these bright city lights below. As we leave the British Airways flight behind, we approach the south shore of Long Island in Nassau County. While most passengers are in awe of the view, I'm searching for JFK arrivals from the east heading west for vectors to runway 22 left. Let's listen into this flight check-in with New York Approach Control's final vector frequency for JFK.
Final today, KLM 643 Heavy.
KLM 643 Heavy, New York, hello, flight in 320, reduced speed 210.
320, speed 210, KLM 643 Heavy.
Oh boy, am I excited about this one. KLM Flight 643, a 787 from Amsterdam, is on the standard arrival to JFK from the east, which takes it toward Long Island's south shore so it can get radar vectors for left traffic to runway 22 left. The 320-degree heading assigned by the approach controller sets it up for an approach to the runway 22 left final approach course, and if the timing works out okay, we'll pass directly over this flight as it heads away from us. It needs to be fit in between planes like that American flight from Las Vegas, which approached the area we're looking at from the south. And there it is, KLM all the way from Amsterdam.
KLM 641 Heavy, turn 10 degrees to the left, lower momentarily.
Turn to the left, KLM 643 Heavy.
The controller has told KLM to turn 10 degrees to the left, but because it's such a small turn, we're really not going to be able to see the turn from up here. Okay, we're now turning right to descend further now that we're clear of JFK. This is part of the arrival procedure that's published. We're high over Nassau County, staying high above JFK arrivals and departures, and need some extra time to get down lower to land at Westchester, so we head away. We're looking at Long Island Sound, and on the other side of the Sound is the state of Connecticut. Even though we're in the New York metro area, we still have not checked in with New York Approach Control. This is despite flying right over New York Approach Control airspace for JFK. We actually won't check in with New York Approach Control's Westchester sector until we're below 5,000 feet. For now, we just continue and follow the published procedure. Down below, we're looking at the hamlet of Kings Park in Suffolk County, Long Island. Yes, we're going pretty far out. Across the Sound are Norwalk and Stamford, Connecticut. We'll be flying in the opposite direction by those cities at a lower altitude soon. In this view, way in the distance, we can see the Tappan Zee Bridge over the Hudson River. Our destination airport is between the shoreline of the Sound and that bridge, but we've got some time to go as we're still very high up. We're going to continue all the way to Hulse Landing on the north shore of Long Island. That's just north of Calverton. Who would have thought that a flight from Florida to Westchester would take you way out over Long Island? This is the only way around the busy New York City area flight paths. What's interesting, however, is that when you depart Westchester County Airport and head to the south toward Florida, you actually fly directly over New York City, but flights climb fast and high to get away from the lower altitude traffic. But they'll still mix with LaGuardia and Newark departures, and they stay below JFK arrivals from the west. We're now starting the left turn back around over the Sound over an airspace fix called Zahn, again following the arrival procedure. We cross this area at 10,000 feet, so it's at this point that the flight deck crew puts the exterior lights on the plane. I like to call these advertising lights because they clearly illuminate the fuselage and tail, making it clear that this is a Breeze Airways aircraft. This turn puts the airplane on a 2-degree heading, nearly north, and brings the plane closer to the Connecticut side of the Sound than the New York side. Looking back, we can see both the north shore and the south shore of Long Island and way into the Atlantic Ocean. We're now level on the 2-degree heading toward a fix called Eileen, just south of the New Haven, Connecticut area. From there, we turn to the west toward fixes leading to the last fix called Rhymes. We've descended significantly, and it's finally time to check in with New York Approach Control.
Good evening, New York, Moxie 915, 4.7, leveling at 4,000, direct Rhymes, whiskey.
Moxie 915, New York, heading 260, descend and maintain 2,000, hold your present speed till advised.
260 on a heading down 2,000, hold the same speed, Moxie 915.
A 260-degree heading has been issued. That keeps us over the Long Island Sound. We can also descend to 2,000 feet. It's late at night, so the controller on this frequency is also working departing flights from Westchester. Here, an Endeavor Air CRJ 900 bound for Atlanta checks in with the same controller.
Departure Endeavor 5095, 1,000 air, climb 3,000.
Endeavor 5095, your departure to contact, climb and maintain 7,000, turn left heading 260.
7,260 on Endeavor 5095.
Not only is this controller working flights to and from Westchester, he's also working some flights to LaGuardia. The majority of flights to LaGuardia Airport approach the New York City area from the south around the Verrazano Bridge. Check out nearly all of my LaGuardia approach videos and you'll see what I'm talking about. But flights headed to LaGuardia from the north pass through the airspace of Westchester County. So the controller responsible for Westchester is also handling some flights to LaGuardia as well. In the next transmission, a Republic Airlines flight from Boston to LaGuardia is actually leaving the airspace of the Westchester controller and is being asked to switch to the LaGuardia approach frequency as it gets closer to LaGuardia.
Cap 5607, contact final 134.9.
49, you have a good night, Bridget 5607.
There will be no more turns issued by the controller for us, which is good since the controller is eyeing departures and flights passing through his airspace. But it's late at night and there are a few flights altogether. Tonight, we'll be landing on runway 34. This heads to the northwest, so as soon as we cross the border of Connecticut with New York over the Sound, we'll be turning to the right to line up at the runway. The only other runway this A220 could land on is runway 16, which is the same runway as runway 34, but in the opposite direction. If we were to land on runway 16, we would have been vectored over the state of Connecticut with Connecticut visible on both sides of the plane. We would then get left turns from the approach controller to join the final approach course. Today, the wind is coming from 320 degrees, so that calls for a landing on runway 34. Let's move forward a minute and a half on this heading here at 2,000 feet. The next step is for us to get clearance to fly the approach to runway 34. There are instrument approaches to this runway, but tonight is a clear sky night, so the controller points out the field. We have it in sight and are cleared for the visual approach to runway 34.
Moxie 915, reduce speed to 180. The airport is 2 o'clock and 10 miles.
180 on speed, we got the building at Moxie 915.
Moxie 915, cleared visual approach runway 34, connect tower.
Clear for the visual 34, Moxie 915. Have a great night, happy Thanksgiving.
Take care.
We can now check in with the control tower at the airport itself. The only thing that needs to be done is we need to turn right and descend to get to the runway, which has an elevation of 380 feet above sea level. Of course, the pilots have a lot of work to do to configure the plane to land. Let's check in with Westchester Tower.
Good evening, White Plains, Moxie 915, 2000 inbound for the visual 34.
Moxie 915, Westchester Tower, good evening. Wind 320 at 3, runway 34, clear to land.
34, clear to land, Moxie 915.
All right, we are cleared to land and we'll be making right turns to ensure we're lined up at the runway. While over the Sound, we get our last looks of Long Island out there. Once we're lined up, we'll be over the land and we'll see lower Westchester County off the left side of the plane. Passengers on the right side will continue to see Connecticut all the way down as the airport lies on the border between Westchester County and Connecticut. There are no planes taking off in front of us this evening, so we were cleared to land right away. Often at this airport, landing clearance may not come until really close to the runway, as the tower may try to get departures off the same runway before landing. And there's also a smaller crossing runway, runway 1129er, but it's not being used this evening. In about 1 minute, we'll be over the shoreline as the pilot keeps the runway in sight, ensuring that turns are made to be lined up with the runway's extended centerline. By the way, there's a published approach to this runway that can also be flown. It's called the Sound Visual Approach, and it's very similar to the approach that we're flying right now with a right-hand turn onto the final approach course. I like the name of this approach as it uses the word sound. A sound, by the way, is a body of water that's connected to a sea or ocean. We're on the narrow part of the Long Island Sound now, but it opens up to the Atlantic Ocean at its eastern end. We came close to that end before we turned back, and now we're once again getting closer to Manhattan. And way in the distance at the horizon, you can see the lights of Manhattan again. Unfortunately, no arrival or approach to Westchester brings you really close to Manhattan, which is one reason why I like to fly to and from LaGuardia. But I chose Breeze for its price, which in the current season is less expensive than those Delta flights I have been taking. But in the summer months, I found that Delta was less expensive than Breeze. After Delta made it more difficult to maintain the diamond status that I had for many years, I just go with whoever provides the best price. It's all about the window seat, and all airlines have windows. That's what matters. And the window seat here on this A220 is providing a view down the shoreline of Westchester County from Portchester down to New Rochelle, continuing on to the Bronx. Now, behind us, another aircraft is coming into land who is flying the same exact approach that we're on right now. When the aircraft calls the tower is going to immediately clear this aircraft to land. Just like for us, there was no departing traffic ahead. Let's listen in to this transmission, and then we'll continue on with our landing.
Tower, Westchester 520, right base for the visual behind the Airbus.
Westchester 520, Westchester Tower, good evening. Wind calm, runway 34, clear to land.
Clear land, number 2, runway 34, Westchester 520.
So for the remainder of this landing, I'm going to let you listen into the engine sounds from in front of the engines. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I had originally booked a seat way in the back of the plane, but had to rebook my flight a few times. When I booked this flight, it was actually cheaper to get a seat in the nicer cabin in front of the wing, so I took it. In any case, my future bookings on Breeze are in the rear of the plane, so enjoy the sounds from the front. I'll be back once we're on the ground. Welcome to HPN. Now that we're slowing down, we need to vacate the runway. There's a plane that needs to land behind us, but I suspect it's pretty far out since I didn't hear it when we were on the approach control frequency. Here's the command to clear the runway.
Moxie 915, turn right at Bravo, then contact ground. Right on Bravo, over to ground. Happy Thanksgiving, Moxie 915. Happy Thanksgiving.
A turn to the right was made because that's the side from the runway that the airport terminal is on. Another right turn will be made that leads to the terminal. I wasn't able to hear the ground controller give taxi instructions to us, but I did pick up the pilot's response.
Taxi via Alpha and give way to the CRJ, Moxie 915, happy Thanksgiving.
So we can taxi via Alpha, but we have to give way to a CRJ. There is a PSA Airlines CRJ that's pushing back from the terminal onto the taxiway, so that likely means that we'll have to stop and wait for him before we can continue on to the gate. In the meantime, here comes a welcome announcement from the flight attendant.
Welcome to White Plains. The local time is approximately 6:59 p.m. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the seatbelt sign is turned off and keep the aisle clear of carry-on items. You're now free to use your mobile phone. Use caution when opening overhead compartments as items may have shifted in flight. Thank you for flying with Breeze Airways today. We've enjoyed having you on our flight and hope to see you again soon. Happy Thanksgiving and don't eat too much. I know I will though.
The flight is almost over. It was fantastic, and the highlight was definitely seeing those flights to JFK. I rarely fly out of JFK, and for me, flying is being part of the action, and I almost felt like I was going to land at JFK. But there's still more to come on this flight. As mentioned, there is a PSA Airlines flight pushing back, and we're about to slow down and wait for it to clear the taxiway that it's pushing back onto, which blocks our route to the gate.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have not quite yet made it to the gate, just waiting on another aircraft to get taxiing. If you would, please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened until the seatbelt sign turns off. Welcome to White Plains.
All right, we're in White Plains. Blue Streak is pushing back. We're just waiting for Blue Streak to leave the taxiway area, and then we'll move forward to the gate. Now, my dad is up filming in the observation deck, and here's that CRJ 900 on the right side that's pushing back. We're waiting further to the right and can't get by because it's blocking the path. The plan is for us to pull into gate 3 down below. Once Blue Streak's tug is removed, he calls ground control for taxi clearance.
Ground Blue Streak 5070, repeat taxi with whiskey.
Blue Streak 5070, this X-ray, current runway 34. You can follow the outbound King Archer 12 o'clock, cross runway 29.
Now that Blue Streak is starting its taxi to runway 34, we can move ahead onto the ramp to gate number 3 at the Westchester County Airport. I want to thank you for joining me on this flight from Vero Beach. It was an absolute thrill, and even though I've taken the flight in the past, each time is like the first time, and there's always something new to get excited about. That's what this channel is all about. No matter where you sit on a plane, if you have a window, we're all equals, front and back. Understanding how your flight fits into the airspace and surrounding areas adds a whole new dimension to the enjoyment of your flight. There have been many videos like this on my channel in the past, and there will be more to come. So if you haven't done so already, I invite you to click on the subscribe button, and don't forget to click the like button for this video too. Don't forget to check out the sponsor link in the description below, and I also invite you to support me on Patreon. There's a link down there for that too. Well, it's time to end this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy New Year, and see you all very soon.